Hi, you guys. Now, I've heard from people that know Emily Simpson that she's kind of two-faced in real life. I also don't like that she came for me for no reason, but that's not really why I'm telling you this. I'm telling you because people reached out to me and they were like, Emily Simpson was so nice when she started OC, and then like something changed and like she lost herself or something and she became kind of mean to people and just I don't know, like thought she was better than everybody else. And I was like, gee, that sounds terrible. And in fact, there's stories in the Patreon about it because when I get tea, I share it. I think I even like cut one out and shared it like what the exact person said. But anyway, so it was really unusual for this clip to drop in the teaser. Let me play it for you.
You're consistent.
I need to explain myself from 12 years ago to you?
I feel like you use content creators, podcasters, journalists, whatever you want to call them, to fight your battles for you. If you're pissed, that's fine. You're allowed to be that pissed, Katie. That's fine. But at least have the guts to bring it up to me, to my face.
And I truly apologize for how I handled it.
So Bravo Boo saw that in the teaser for tonight's Real Housewives of Orange County reunion, season 19, part 1, I think. And he was like, she was like, that is completely hypocritical because Emily Simpson was talking to me the whole time about a cast member. And she was using me to post things about a cast member or asking me to, not to feel obligated, but ask. So let me show you the receipts that Bravo Boo posted about this. So there's Emily Simpson there, and she says, would you believe her loser agent publicist posted this shitty things about me after me saying things? By the way, this is my opinion and my perspective, which I'm allowed to have when people are asking questions. That's what being a housewife is all about, sharing your opinion and your perspective and being real and authentic about it. Is it though? You can choose to agree or disagree, but this is exactly how I feel. Now, here's the weird thing about this. This is exactly what like Andy Cohen and everybody, the producers say, like, you know, this is what makes a good housewife. Like, this is cookie cutter. I literally can see Andy Cohen's hand up Emily Simpson's ass, puppeteering her while she writes this, even though it's in a private DM to an influencer. Okay, let's move on. So what Alexis Bellino's publicist person, I guess, posted was this. We love a self-aware queen. Emily admits she has nothing to offer audiences other than speaking negatively about her cast. Now, Gretchen Rossi's publicist is also very activated. I wonder if it's the same guy. So then Emily says her agent actually posted this. How completely unprofessional. And I feel like saying to Emily, are you for real right now? You're DMing an influencer about a post that's like, who cares? And in addition to that, you're pretending like you have a real job. Like, that's professional. Reality TV is not a professional environment. I don't want to be the one to break it to you, but you're not a lawyer anymore. You're a reality star. Anyway, Bravo Boo felt bad for Emily and was nice and said, oh my God, no effing way. I'm reposting it, but I will not say I got it from you. That is so low, meaning, you know, that Alexis publicist did this. Alexis is so insecure, it reeks off of her. And this stuff shows it even more. And then something happened, I guess, with Emily, and Bravo Boo said, I'm busy at the moment, but I'm going to make a post about the publicist because I really am riding hard for Shannon right now. And then Emily said, don't feel obligated. I just wanted to share because I was so grossed out by it. I mean, did Emily feel grossed out like, ew? Or was Emily more feeling there's truth in it, it hit a nerve, and I don't want people to think I'm a bad housewife because I'm boring. And the only way I'm not boring is when I drag people and I stir the pot. I'll leave it to you to decide. Okay, so some of you guys asked me some follow-up questions to my video last week when I mentioned that after the reunion, all the women went out to dinner together except Tamra. And some of you asked, was Katie out to dinner with everybody at the end of the reunion? And the answer is no, she did not go, okay? Also, some people asked if Slade was the voice that the women are listening to on that weird montage ending that they show the women at the reunion tonight, but they never get to see it till the reunion, that whole thing. Was it Slade, the voice? And the answer I got was cryptic on this, okay? It was, the guy with the voice does not want to be identified, but Bravo knows who the person is. And after the reunion, a whole bunch of shit is going to be exposed. Here's the guy's voice real quick to remind you, just a few seconds ago.
Can you give us a couple of things that you know?
I met her when she fucking quit out of the Orleans trip. And when she did return, she filmed with Heather at some restaurant. I think it was Costa Mesa.
Yeah.
Sounds good looking. It's not Jeff Lewis either, just so you guys know. So now you might understand why Alexis Bellino is just commenting left and right against Emily. Let me show you something. So Reality T said, after the shocking finale of RHOC seemingly exposed Tamra Judge for leaking storylines, Emily Simpson has admitted that she believes the anonymous source. Okay, so that podcast on Tamra's channel, not going to last much longer, I'd say. Better get in there and listen to it. And then Alexis Bellino wrote, then maybe Emily Simpson is behind it all if she's stupid enough to believe that. Isn't she supposed to be an attorney? Yet, okay, this anonymous random voice is supposed to be credible. Give me a break, you idiot. Alexis, I think, is kind of seeing through rosy glasses on this one. It's not the first time we've had someone drop the entire season's storyline ahead of time to people to get them to rally the fans in a particular direction for a particular housewife. Teresa Giudice, Jen Aiden. And it's so funny because guess who's on a panel at BravoCon 2025 with Teresa Giudice? Tamra Judge. And I heard they might make up. Can you believe it? Maybe they'll exchange tips. Another weird thing for me in the teaser is that Shannon Bedore uses Tamra grudge, which all the fans call Tamra, and the women act like they've never heard that before. And they're like, oh, good one, Shannon. And I'm like, the fans came up with that like years ago. What? Then that made me think, is this all acting? What's happening here? All right, you guys, let's get into the recap of the reunion, shall we? So the first highlights of the reunion are basically centered around Tamra Judge. We have a few things happen. Number one, we find out that Tamra Judge went to Alexis Bellino's wedding and it was stunning, it was beautiful, it was amazing. And she also does this whole act where she's like, I'm really want to be careful not to talk about Shannon Bedore's, ex John Jansen and his new wedding to Alexis Bellino and hurt Shannon. And Shannon's like, I don't give a shit, go ahead. And then she does. And then it jumps to Tamra and everybody's upset about Tamra's behavior. And Andy's like, did you get therapy? What's happening with you? Are you working on yourself? Are you taking accountability? And she tells Andy everything that she thinks Andy wants to hear to not have the women flip out, disengage kind of thing. So then we find out in all of this that Pedrani, who had been uninvited to Alexis Bellino's wedding, that's like a 3 recaps back, I think, in my show, ends up being invited in the last hour to Alexis Bellino's wedding, but she doesn't go. Obviously, it's too late, but Alexis regrets that she disinvited Jennifer Pedrani because Jennifer reached out to her in a thoughtful way on her wedding to say, I hope you have a good day anyway. So that made Alexis regret being so harsh, although she didn't really feel like they were tight at the time. So then we find out that Shannon Bedore was really impacted by Tamra Judge's under the breath and side remarks to do with her dad being an alcoholic. So Shannon cries and she's like, I'm the most important thing to my dad and you made me have to tell him that you outed his alcoholism on national TV. And Tamra tries to say she outed it before in 2015, but it really isn't the same thing. It's just her saying, I grew up in an alcoholic home, not specific to her father. And Tamra specifically says her dad. So this is the beginning. So Katie comes on and she's treated almost like a friend of, and Andy says, it looks like the fans really rallied around you after the lie detector test. How did that make you feel? And she was like, I feel great. And I really love the fans for doing that. And it was surprising and I was happy. And then Shannon said, listen, I never stopped following Katie. I followed her and I never unfollowed her after all this, but I haven't spoken to her. since all this stuff went down. So I can't, comment on how I feel about that, but because we haven't had any growth. And then they just gloss over that. And it's like, okay, that's dead. And then we get to an interesting part where Emily's like, how dare you have come for my children with that gossip saying I didn't like Heather Dubrow or whatever through my kids. And then Katie's like, yeah, but you brought up at the reunion last season that, I lost custody of my kids and you couldn't piece that all together, how that went down, how a mother loses custody of her kids. And Emily is like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then Andy asks a really good question. He says, I did my research and you said that one person in the group had taken you out of filming in a way, had set you up and got you fired, essentially. No, he didn't say fired, but like got you off the rest of the season. And she's like, yeah, I still feel that way. And Andy's like, who is it? And she's like, Emily Simpson. Now you know why I started the video like I did, because I think it was Emily too. So of course it comes out that production organized the lie detector test. Like, come on, duh. But I think that the producers knew Emily disliked Katie a lot, and they wanted her event to match up with that. And so they brought that event to Emily because of that reason. Now, Emily said, I didn't set Katie up, but she did. She did set Katie up because at the end of the lie detector test, she could have softened it and said, you know what, you guys, there's, it's not always so correct. Or she could have said, Katie, don't worry about it. They'll get over it or whatever. She could have walked her outside as the hostess. She didn't, So Emily used an opportunity the producers brought to her to destroy Katie and to make the women all jump on the bandwagon with that feeling. Because frankly, other than Shannon Bedore, there was no one else that anti-Katie except for Emily. Anyway, Jennifer Pedrani, although she was good friends with Katie, doesn't send her a lifeline. Andy asks, why did you think that Katie was a con artist, especially being that you're with Ryan Boyajian? No, I said that, he didn't. Sorry. And what happened? And Katie, said, what did you think about that, Jennifer? Why did you say that? And Jennifer is like, well, I said it because none of your stories to me were adding up. There were inconsistencies a lot. Ryan thought, it was that you were agreeing, but I felt like you just kept changing your story a lot and I couldn't understand it. So it made me uncomfortable. And I kind of felt like, are you a fraudster or something? She doesn't go that deep, but you get the drift. And so that happens. Anyway, Shannon sort of apologizes to Katie for saying she's as evil as Alexis Bellino, but she's like, it was really dark what you did, recording me and sending it to like my enemy who's suing me, which I don't disagree with. And then Katie still said, no, I didn't show it to Alexis, but Alexis said she heard it and they didn't get anywhere on that one. So Katie kind of got caught in a lie, unless Alexis is lying, so... And then Jennifer did not soften at all towards Katie. And Andy asked the question, do you think you could come back and, make amends and move forward with these women or any of them? And Katie's like, yes. And Andy's like, I sure hope so. And we don't know what that means. I sure hope so. Like, you're going to give her another season now? Or I sure hope so. Like, well, off the show, I hope you guys, somebody stays in touch. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. So I want to call out something. Emily Simpson's wife swap storyline totally contradicted her Real Housewives of Orange County season 19 storyline. Completely. I kid you not. So they all take turns talking about the kids, and Tamra's finally made up with her daughter, it sounds like, or had an initial meeting where that went down. Emily finds out that her son doesn't have anything that she's told us in the season up to this point. He has now what she thinks is PANDA, and that is an inflammation, in the neurological side of a child that happens when you get strep or some other infection can cause it. And she says, my son has swelling in the brain, and now this is what we think it is, and we're going to do, have his brain lasered. Now, this worried me a little because that isn't a normal treatment for Panda. So I had to look into this a little bit, and I wanted to make sure you guys didn't watch the show and start looking for lasers for your kids that have Panda. Because what she's referring to is a holistic approach of medicine where they use a red light, similar to like what you would use on your face for anti-inflammation on the child, to stop. It's not like you open the brain up and laser it, okay? The way she made it sound was way different than it really is. So I just wanted to be sure you guys knew that. So then Gretchen joins the group and we talk about, whether or not she wanted to come on the show to get Tamra. She says no, but she did have reservations of coming back on the show. Then they call out that Tamra Judge invited Joe De La Rosa on 2 events. That's Slade's ex. And couldn't she take a different friend? And Tamra's like, I do whatever I want, basically, and I'm not changing it just because you're there. Then Tamra brings up that Slade got arrested, and didn't that ruin his career? Versus Tamra calling him out on all his shit on television, which just made him look like a loser. So here's Slade Smiley's booking photo from 2009. He still looks good, even though he's got arrested. He didn't pay his child support. This is a sticky point for me, so we'll just move on. Find out that Gretchen did not marry Slade legally because of his debts, but they did have a religious ceremony, which wasn't legal, and therefore her engagement was real, even though it was years before, because she meant it symbolically, like she's his, etc. They're dedicated to each other and they had a child. And then she has a religious ceremony. So to her, she's married in her religion, but she's not legally married. And that case is kind of made by her castmates for her, which shows me that Gretchen is well liked amongst the cast. So in the last scene, it's just a lot of back and forth, Gretchen trying to prove that Tamra has it out for her, and Tamra trying to prove that Gretchen has it out for her. And then it comes out that Shannon Bedore recorded a fight that Vicki Gunvalson had with her boyfriend just 2 years ago. And Shannon said, I was concerned, so I recorded it in case I needed it, but to help Vicki, in other words, not to hurt her. And then I deleted it after when it, I guess, worked itself out. But that just shows how tumultuous Vicki Gunvalson's relationship with her boyfriend is. Just saying, I'm not sure she's going to be happy that came out on the show. But there it is. And that went back and forth between Tamra and Shannon, and that was pretty much it. The rest of it was just, the usual back and forth. Because at the end of the day, right? Gretchen and Tamra, they're very good at the game and they're both playing it, right? So you can't really, there's no good or bad guy in that scenario. It's just like who's playing it better kind of thing, from your guys' perspective. All right, on that note, I'm out. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks so much, and we'll talk soon.